Alrighty. Hello, everybody. Just logging on a couple of minutes early just to make sure that everything is going live. Okay. And I do have comment on, so if you feel like commenting, please do. I don't always see them when the camera first comes on. Sometimes I have to respond to them after, but in the meantime, we can start going through some of the things you're going to need for tonight's project. So in the past, we have done 3 different projects. One, we used washi tapes on papers for 12 by 12 layouts and for cards. Another time we did some origami pieces, and in this case, this is the butterflies that were demonstrated on that. And then we did a layout using starburst patterns. So I'm combining all 3 of these things into a final piece. Well, not a final piece, but I thought would be neat to put this all into a piece. So what you're going to need is you're going to need 2 pieces of blue pattern, both of them cut at 2.5 by 12. So 2.5 by 12 pieces of blue pattern. And then 2 pieces of 3-inch by 12. And then 2 pieces, I've already kind of trimmed that out, 2 pieces of a teal or a turquoise or a light blue, both of them 2.5 by 12. Okay, so those are your pieces for your strips. And then what we're going to do in a moment is we are going to cut those diagonally. So we end up with 12 pieces of paper all together. Then I ask that you get a 4 by 4 piece of blue pattern paper that's very thin and easy to bend. A yellow at, what was this? I think this was 3 inches. So 4 inches, 3 inches, and 2.5 inches. And the lighter the paper, the better for these, because we're going to be folding these to make the butterflies for the layout. All right. Now, in a previous technique class, I shared with you a quick sketch, and maybe I have the sketch here so you'll remember, or maybe I don't. Apparently I don't. Anyway, it was a sketch that I made of a circle that showed you the different types of color combinations we are making on that last page grouping. So colors that are on the same side of the wheel, whether it's the secondary purple and orange or red, they're considered red, purple, red, and orange are considered adjacent and subtle, sorry, or side by side. So adjacent is the actual term for it, the adjacent colors on the wheel, but they are the ones that are side by side, and they tend to be more subtle because they have colors of each other together. When you're talking about complementary colors, you're talking about the color, let's say red, and the opposite color on the wheel. In this case, it is green. It's not yellow or blue. It's directly across and it is the green color. So the complementary color of red is green and the complementary color of green is red. And if you look here, across from blue is orange, not red, not yellow. Straight across from blue is orange. So blue's complementary color is orange, and orange's complementary color would be blue. And it builds out the more layers of different types of colors you have. We haven't even started talking about tertiary colors or tinting or any of those things, or toning. So we're just kind of working with this basic model of color. So those colors like red and green are considered complementary colors, and that is the official name for them. They are opposites and they pop. So if you want subtle colors all working together, you want to go with adjacent. If you want some pop, you're going to throw in a complementary color. Okay. So I'll just leave this to the side so that you can see that it's there. And either now or at some point when you have time, feel free to copy that down in your notes. And I always have a notebook with me because that's how I kind of pull my ideas together. I just do a little bit of a sketch. I also suggested that you have sort of 3 to 6 washi tapes. I like 6. And I basically have my yellows and my blues or teals. And because I was using teal and blue and they're very close, I thought I'd throw some gold in there just to have some sparkle. So that's why I have the 3 different colors, but they go in with my color palette very well. Okay, so we're going to start by cutting up our strips and getting ready for a modified, what I call a modified um, sunburst starburst page. So I've already cut this first one. I'm going to do all my cuts from the right side down to the left side. So you simply take your paper in your trimmer, and of course when you turn it diagonally, it is not the same size as a 12 by 12 cutter. It is slightly larger, but you can, if you have one of these cutters that has wire on it, it's very easy to line up your edges, even though they go beyond the top of the cutter. So I'm simply going to take my blade always sits, and I'll show this to you. Some of you already know this. My blade always sits on the left-hand side of my wire. So that means that I have a little bit of a play in my cutting. So I need to adjust for that and make sure that the tip of my paper is going to be a little left of my wire. And so I kind of line up the top first, and you're not going to be absolutely perfect. So you're going to line up the top just a little left if you're like me and have it in the left. And then I'm going to move my cutter out of the way and do the same lining up at the bottom. And then to cut, I don't draw down the whole length. I start in the center, somewhere in the center, so that I don't tear the ends. And I want to make sure that those ends stay pointy. So that goes that way, and now I can draw it back down. And there we are. So there's my sets of, I should have 4 of those. So we'll end up with 12 altogether. So let's do that again with our next set. Lining it up with the top, kind of eyeballing the bottom for now, lining up with the top, holding it there, moving my blade, lining it up with the bottom, bringing my blade down to the center, going up, and then going back down. Okay. Once you've done it enough times, it's not a big deal anymore. And now I can like pretty much do it by eye. But I always, every once in a while, you got to check to make sure you're still on track. And I think that I might have shifted. No, I'm good. Okay. I'm going to start in the middle, go up, go down. And there's my 4 pieces of the yellow. And then I have my light blue, which I'm going to do the same. And starting at the top, lift, push that out of the way, lining up the bottom, lift, bringing it down to the center, cut up, cut down. Whoop, I might have been short on that one. Nope, actually that worked out quite well. I just have a little bit of a fuzzy edge. And one more cut. So we're going to again do that quasi lineup. Take that down there, a little bit off here, and in the center up and down. There we go. Okay, so there are all our pieces. Now, before we begin laying things out, I want to make sure that I get my butterflies done. So we're going to take a moment and we're going to create 4 butterflies. So we're going to start with our square paper. Best to start with the big one. I'm just going to move my white out of the way. We're going to start with the big one because it'll be easier for us to do the folding when we start larger than when we start smaller. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our side that we want showing, and we're going to fold in the center. And just make a nice crease with your fingernail there. Open it up and fold in the center. So I'm pretty sure my outside edge is going to be the outside of the butterfly, but if it turns out that it isn't, I can adjust at any time. Okay, so now I've got my two folds. I'm going to take this and I am going to fold it crosswise. Took me a minute to figure that out. My brain just went pop. And then I'll fold the other side crosswise so that I end up having it folded in two different ways. And this is where you can tell whether you've cut a nice square or not. So I now have something that looks like I can do something like this. So what I am going to do now is do that. So I take the side folds and I'm going to just pinch them into a diamond shape like this. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each side and I'm going to fold up to the center, and make sure you're always pressing down those seams, and up to the center again. Sometimes it's better to do them separately and then pull it together afterwards. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm going to flip it over. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it into a V shape, and I'm going to take this bottom piece and I'm going to fold it up into the center. So I'm going to start that all again, just so you can make sure you know where you're at. So we have our 4x4 piece of paper. We're going to fold it in half this way, and then we're going to fold it in half that way. Then we're going to take one corner and fold it up that way. And then we're going to take the other corner and fold it up that way. Then we're going to grab our corners like that so that it creates a diamond shape, and fold it that way. And holding it with the arrow pointing up, we're going to take one corner and fold it up, and another corner and fold it up. Then we're going to flip it so now the arrow is pointing towards you, and you're going to take the bottom piece and just line it up with the top and fold, and make a good fold there because that's an important piece. Okay. Then we're going to bring this down. Hang on a second. Yes, we're going to bring this down, and we're going to take this piece and we are going to fold it side to side. Is that right? Yes, so we're going to fold it side to side. So we folded this up. Now we bring that back down, and we're going to fold just this top piece side to side. Okay. This doesn't, oh yeah, that's right. Okay, so we're side to side like this, and now we're going to open this piece. Wait a minute, I'm back at the beginning. We're going to fold this side to side. Okay. Gotta just do this myself now. I've totally forgotten where I go from here. Oh, maybe that's it. Nope. All right. I've forgotten, folks. I gotta take one of my pieces apart so I can see where I am. It's been a while. Okay, so we got that all like that. This is folded. Ah, that's what I forgot to do. Right, so I'm going to fold this piece over here. So that would have been when this was this way. I would have folded that piece over there. Ah, that doesn't make any sense to me. Sorry. Oh, right. Okay. So here we are on this side. And we turned it over, pointed it to us, folded that up, folded it back down, folded this over. And now we're folding that piece up. That doesn't seem right. These are my legs. That's my butterfly. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, so I'm in this position right now, and something. Okay, I did it wrong. So start again. Sorry. So we're folding in half, then in half, then corner to corner, then corner to corner. Then we're grabbing the sides and making it into a diamond. Okay. It's actually this way. And then we make sure that the point is going north. We fold this up and this up. And then we flip it over and put the point down. And this one is supposed to go above. So if I'm looking at it, I'm going to put it about 1/4 of an inch above the edge of the wings, because that's the thing that I was missing. I need to have that hold together. Okay. And then when I fold this over and open up the wings on this side, okay, I always put a little dot of glue, but only after I've got everything under control. And now you can see your butterfly on this side. So two of the things I want to do with this butterfly, it's a large butterfly. So I have a corner rounder here that has different sizes. So this is the largest, this is the medium, and this is the smallest. So I'm going to stick this in and try to round that corner. It's better if I do it upside down. Round that corner, and I'm going to have to do it a couple of times. I'm just going to keep trimming until I get a nice looking rounded wing. Okay, so I trimmed 3 times with my large corner rounder. So I'm going to do the same to this side. Stick it in focus, like centered. And then I just keep going centered all the way down. I did 2, and now I'm going to do 3. I think I'll do 1 more. There we go. And so we have our butterfly wings done there. We'll figure out what to do when we're done. Now, one of the things that happened to mine is it ripped because I had folded and opened it too many times. So, but that's okay. I'm going to play with that. I'm going to just fold this. Okay, so there is our butterfly, our first butterfly. I'm going to stick a little bit of quick dry glue underneath there, and I probably will put some kind of a shiny dot as well. I use 450 quick dry glue that you can get at a company called Paper Crafters Workshop. I'll move that out of the way so you can see the website there. They have small and large of these. I have found that the small one is hard on my fingers to compress because the plastic is the same density, small or large. So the fact that I am squishing a smaller bottle makes it harder. So if you trust my judgment, then you might want to get the larger bottle. It's easier to squish. Okay, so there's one butterfly. I'm just going to give it a minute to seal. And all right, so there's one done. So now we are going to do the same thing. And this is why we do the larger ones first, so we can figure out what we're doing wrong. So we're going up and touching edges. And then side to side touching edges. And then crossing. And then crossing. And making sure all of these are nice and tight. And then I am going to pinch in my sides so that I can fold it in a diamond. Diamond is pointing up. I take one set of edges, put it to the center, another set of edges, fold it to the center. Make sure these are all nice and secured. Then I'm going to flip it over so the arrow is pointing to me. And I am going to take the bottom part and fold it above. Let me just see if I can hold that for you. See how it's going past the edge of the butterfly. And then that is going to be, when I flip this over, that is going to be pushed onto the other side. But right now, I'm going to see if I can open these up a little bit more, because I want to have a little bit more opening happening. There we go. And the trick is not to hold anything too tightly when you do this, because you don't get the pop, right? The pop for that. Want those wings a little bit open. And I'm going to put my glue there. Oops, helps if I have it opened. Alrighty. And I'm just going to hold it and my butterfly in a little bit, and then we'll finish off the tails after the fact. Okay, so while I'm waiting for that to kind of cure itself, there we go. I'm just going to put that, holding it there. I'm going to trim around the edges of this with my medium size in the same way. And this one I can only really do 3 while I'm waiting for it to glue. And I'll just hold it there. My medium size. There we go. And there's my butterfly. And there's my second butterfly. Alrighty. I'm going to take my small one. I want the, oh yes, I cut 2 of the same color, I forgot. So I'm going in half again. This is the smallest butterfly. In half again. and half again. Then corner to corner. It really is better the thinner the paper you have, obviously. And corner to corner. And then I'm going to take two of the sides and fold it in. Oop. Try to make sure that those corners line up. Don't want it to shift. When they get a little smaller, sometimes they will shift. All right, there we go. And then I'm going to take, with the arrow pointing up, I'm going to take one side and the other side. Make sure those are nice solid folds. Flip it down so it's facing me now. And now I'm going to take this piece, go beyond. Whoa, I don't want to go too far beyond. Beyond a little bit. You see how I've gone beyond a little bit? I'm going to hold that, fold it over the tip, get some glue on there, bubbly glue. I'm going to close that up. And I'm going to fold that over, stick my finger there. Then I'm going to take my smallest, and I don't have to. I can leave all the points on my butterflies as points. I just think that they look a little nicer when they're shaped. Okay, see if I can hold that, putting it in my small one. As far as up I can. There we go. I can only really do two on these because they're very short. All right. It's a little bit more off that one. Oh, come on in there. Sorry, I can't really seem to get it. There we go. All right. So there's our butterflies. Ready to roll. Okay, so those are good to go. Now let's move on to our 12 by 12 piece of white cardstock. Now, I am going to start with the longest one first. So I'm going to see how far I can have this come in. And I don't really want, I want it to have, so here's what I have in my brain. So let me do a little sketch for you so you can see what I'm thinking. So I want to have my 12 by 12 piece of paper, and I want to have maybe a 4 by 6 here and a 4 by 3 there. So I don't want my first piece to come all the way into this corner necessarily. I might want it to come maybe just under center. So if center is here, I want it somewhere in this upper quarter. Okay, so if I kind of visualize that in where I'm looking here, if you have, whoops, let me move this up a bit so we're all looking at the same page. If you have quarters, I want it to end somewhere in here. I don't want to go this far. I want to maybe move it up and have it end somewhere around there. So that's going to be my first piece of paper. So I'm going to glue that down to make a commitment. Commitments are hard. And I know where to glue it based on what I'm doing here. Oh, I just ran out of I have lots of these lying around, so I just grab them. So I know that I'm going to go in there. Okay, so that's not sticking. There we go. Okay. Sometimes if they get left out, they get dry. Now, I can get all the way down as close to the point as possible, but I can never get that point. So that point, I'm going to put a tiny little bit of my glue. My glue dries clear, so I'm not worried about, and I'm just going to dot it. Because I don't want that to lift up. Okay. So now I'm going to place it down around there. And there's our first piece. And with any luck, yeah, I'm really good with the adhesive. You can see a tiny bit of adhesive right here, but otherwise I've got that corner handled. Get a little more light on the situation. Okay, so now that's a blue. We're going to play with these guys afterwards. Now we're just going to lightly tack what we're going to play with and how we're going to move these around. I don't want to have a full page of all one color, right? I want to have a variety of colors. They don't have to be symmetrical in any way. So I'm just going to play with this a little bit and see. I actually think I want more of that one. There we go. I can go in there. Maybe a little bit of this in here. And they don't have to be like equal space apart. I'm trying to play with this just a little bit and have a little bit of fun manipulating all of the patterns. I'm just going to put a weight on this one because it's coming off my board. Alrighty. So I'm trying to lift it up as much as I can, but I only have so much space on my desk and it's a big project. And I need to try and get it into the screen for you. So you're going to have to do a little bit of imagining when you see all these things coming together there, that they will all be coming together in a point. But I want to play a little bit with the patterns that I'm using before I glue everything down. I can even put those like right side by side. Stick this over a little bit more that way. Put that one in there. And then have this down here like this. So we have some big spaces. I don't mind the spaces. The spaces are kind of fun. Maybe move this just a little less space. There we go. So we have some big spaces because what we want to do inevitably is fill in some of these gaps with these butterflies that are flying away from the photographs that are going to be on the page. And we want to sort of be able to have enough room for them to be flying off. You know what I'm trying to say? I hope I'm making a little bit of sense. So this might be too big, actually. I don't know if I like that so much. Anyway, we'll keep working. I like those two together. And then we have to add also the tape. So we do have some tape we need to add in here as well. So I'm liking what I'm seeing here. I'm just going to remember. No, I'm not going to remember. I'm going to take a picture, as I often do, just to remember what order things are in and how they play out. I just want to see what's going on there. and you're getting to see the process. There we go. Okay, so now I can have that on my keyboard, and I can move some of these things out of the way. Okay. So when I look at this, sorry, my phone is asking me to log in now. Sorry. Technology, you gotta love it. Okay. Alrighty. There we go. So directly opposite, I'm going to take these out of the way. More or less directly opposite, I have this going on. And this is going right into the corner. So I'm going to have them touch there. So I have a little bit for my point. I can put a little bit more on. And then I'm going to add some regular adhesive. And flip it over. And run it along. Okay. And then right beside this one, I had one of these. So I'm going to add a little bit to the corner, or the point, rather. And this was going right beside it. So I'm going to have adhesive going along here. There we go. Make sure I don't have any adhesive falling over the edges, because that will cause a problem. So these two are together. Whoa, there we go. Alrighty. And then here I have one of these flowery ones. Going this way, sort of almost straight up from there, a little bit off center. Get that glue. And the nice thing about this glue is that it dries quickly, and it ends up sort of, you can rub it off if you've got too much. So that's going to be there. Whoops. It's going to be there. So we're going to have some tape here, here. Alrighty. So that's where that's going to go. Okay, and then I have another one of these. Getting a little on my tip. And this is going to go off. It looks like it goes off right at the corner. And I'm going to pull this across. Flip it over. And line that up. Okay. And then I have a plaid. And it's coming in around there. So you're just kind of moving your cut pieces. Way too much on that one. That's okay. All comes off, no problem. Rub a bit of that off. And this is going to go in here, I think. Yeah, about there. Based on my picture I took in my sketch. Oops. Alrighty, and now we're going to put this in there. Doesn't want to squeeze in there. There we go. Okay, and then here we have some more of the blue. Got some glue on here already. And this is going to go out here. Turn it over. There we go. Move a few things around. Now over on this side, we have one of these guys. And that's going to be a bit of a gap there. So we're going to put some adhesive at the edge. Really filter it down. Put that in the center and about there. Then the next one is the plaid. Move it on the tip. And you know, I'm being careful, but I'm not necessarily being completely manic about how much space I'm putting between things. Now this blue one is sort of around there. And I do find it really helpful to take that photograph, because then you can pretty much, this one actually goes here. I'm missing a blue there. I'm supposed to put this blue in there based on my photo, but I could have done it the other way. Yeah, let's do it the other way. So this is kind of like that. And then a little bit of red, or red, yellow. And the yellow is going to go very tight. So the yellow goes about there. Okay, and then we're going to have I am losing my mind. This needs to be up here. This is why it's good that you have things that you can adjust. There, that goes there. This one comes down here. This one comes down here. Oops. Get that where it's supposed to be. There we go. And this one is supposed to be in there. And then this one comes off the bottom, right? Alrighty. Get a tiny little bit of glue. Okay. And then that's go in there, around there. Oops. Now with this blue paper, it had an alternate pattern on it that was a little bit more punchy at the ends here. And it's okay if it got in or it didn't get in. I wasn't really banking on it being a part of the design or the pattern. So however it shows up is fine. But now that I've used these, and once I trim these off, I can use these base pieces for creating a similar look on a card. Anything I can do on a layout, I can do on a card. So that's the thing to keep in mind, is that, you know, as you're planning for your layouts, look at them as being possibilities for your cards too. All right, and this one is just going to kind of be here. I kind of want it there. I think I want it there. Okay, almost done here. And now we're going to put it all together. There we go. All righty. So now we're just going to trim this all up. And you're going to want to do that with big scissors, which I seem to have lost. Oh, where'd they go here? That's the problem with cleaning spaces, is that things get moved around a little bit. I kind of had a system, but I don't seem to have had that system anymore. Okay, so I'm gonna try and do it with a little bit of smaller scissors, which is not my thing to really do it with, but the longer the scissors, the better, because you can get one sweep at it instead of cutting little bits at a time, which can leave little uneven edges. So the bigger the scissors, the better, if you can plan it that way. Now this one I'm going to do last. I do the corners last because you have to go in 2 different directions. And as for the kind of paper you use on this particular, on the background, it doesn't really matter. It can be thin or thick pattern paper. Alrighty. Make sure I don't. See, this is the problem. I'm cutting some of the edge of the paper and the card base, and I don't really want to do that. There we go. So these pieces are not garbage. These pieces are to be used in another project. Whether you use them as chunks or squares, or you make them into shapes, or you use the same sort of strategy on a card and trim them thinner, is up to you. Oh, that's a corner piece. I'll leave that. There we go. Okay, and now we're going to play with this. Sorry, I'm cutting off camera. So now you want to cut in from both sides on those corners. There we go. And ta-da! There's your layout page. Very simple. Now, what I like to do to sort of get a sense of where my photos are going to go is I've created this little batch of photos, and they're all, 5x7, 4x6, 4x4, that kind of thing. And it helps me to eyeball. If I don't have a photo available, it helps me to eyeball where I'm going to put a photo. So my plan, my little sketch, if you go back to it, is that we're going to have the photo somewhere in this little bit of this 3/4 of the page. So if we have, and I don't think I like a 4x4, it's just a bit too big. So let's do a 3x3. Okay, so this is going to be sort of the way this is going to go. I might even have it overlapping. But as you can see, where your point is, like literally all of these lines that are coming together are telling your eye that the point is right there. And if you lift off your paper, there it is. Okay. So your eye will tell you where that intersection is. And if you don't have it in a place that you really like, it's going to throw you off when you put the rest of the page together. So this is, I'm liking this. This is what I find is working for me so that I don't have to mess with it. I'm just going to put a little piece of repositionable tape, which is from 3M. I got it at Staples. I'm giving Staples a bit of a plug there. There we go. Now, I have my butterflies, but I'm not done with my butterflies yet. I want to do a curl on the tails. So I'm just taking my finger and I'm physically curling that tail. Okay, so it has a bit of a curl on the tail. And I want to take my thumb underneath and create more of a wing. Okay, so you can see the wings now. They've got that shape to them, and you can see the tail has now got, I should probably work on that one a little more. You can wrap them around your finger if you like. This one is the broken one, so it's not going to have the same ability. And there you have your whisper tail. So I'm going to pop dot, I'm going to pop dot this. Yes, I am going to pop dot it because it has to stay off the page. You can get these thin 3D pop foams, or you can get the thicker ones, which are the standard size, which are these ones here. And let me just show you what the difference is. There is quite a difference. So if you're wanting to get something lifted, or it has a very small area for it to stick, and you don't want to use your tape runner, this is a good choice. So let me put those side by side so you can see the difference in them. Can you see how one is thicker and one is thinner? But it's still a pop dot, and it's still thicker. This bottom one here is still thicker than a tape. So that's what I'm going to put at the bottom of this guy to make sure he stays down. And just, I don't need to put it anywhere else than just in his body. And I think I'm going to have him anchoring down between the pictures right there. There we go. Not really happy with what's going on here. So I think I need to put another small, bigger pop dot underneath there because it goes flat on that one side. And I don't want it to go flat. I want it to kind of curl under. There we go. All right. This side is nice and happy and perky. This side's a little bit, ugh. All right. Okay. So things are coming together. Now, don't forget, when I have images on there, these images are going to be darker than what's going on in the pages likely. And so this will minimize the color on here. So now the next one I'm going to do is I'm going to do that same thing. I'm going to put my nail underneath the butterfly wings. to give them some height. I'm going to fold it in the center so that that height comes up, and then I'm going to fold over my wispy tails. So I'm taking them and I'm turning them as I make them wispy. Really want to get them turned over so you can see almost the other side of the tail. Okay, and this guy, I'm just gonna, he's a baby, so he hasn't quite got his twisted tails yet. So he's just gonna have turns on the bottom, and I'm gonna leave his wings the way they are, just because he's a little bit younger and he hasn't got the flight path yet. So this again, I'm not going to use quite as big a thin dot. I am going to use a small thin dot for this one. I just did that backwards. That's crazy. Or did I? No, I did it the right way. I did this one backwards. Oh my goodness. Is it 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock? Chris is exhibiting signs of insanity. There we go. Alrighty, so this one could go off that way or go off that way. I think we might have it go off that way. There we go. Pop it up just a little bit. There's those tails. And that's stuck on there good. And this little guy, I don't know if I need him up there. He might be flying out this way, or up this way, or out that way. I may need some more butterflies. Who knows? We'll just begin with what we have right now. Alrighty. Actually, I prefer this side better. That looks so plain compared to this. I think I'll redo the other one. I'm going to just have him flying out that way. And this one, I'm going to switch around. There we go. I'm going to try and get his tails turned almost all the way around. Butterfly them this way. See, this is the nice thing about paper is you can, to a certain extent, you can keep working it. But at a point, it will say no more and rip on you. Okay, so these will be dark. So imagine them having a darker image on them, which will counterbalance all of what's going on here. And I'm getting to the end of my time, but I just want to point out that I like shimmer. So what I will likely do is put some sort of a little crystal dot or something on the heads of these little guys. The other thing I have that I really like using is my Wink Stella pen, which was here at the beginning and has wandered away. Where did it go? Oh, there's the gold one. Hey, I can show you with the gold one. The gold one has color in it. So I'll just show you on this side here. Don't mind my, I do a lot of inking as well. So this gold pen has actual gold color in it. So you squish to get this section loaded, and then you can see that it has color in it. And that's okay if you want to just, maybe add some veins to the butterfly, and I'll show you as soon as I'm finished doing it. So can't see it on my lighting is not good enough for you to be able to see it. So it has some glitter. You can't really see in this light, unfortunately, but there is glitter happening where those lines are. So that's one way to add glitter, and you can certainly go over them more than once to darken them if you want to have them a little darker. Okay, and then the other color is clear that I have. I also have silver. This is a silver one. I think I might put that one on. So if you put a little in there. So this is what the silver looks like. You can very barely see it, but you can see the glitter that's there. So I'm going to add that to the large butterfly. Give him some glitter. Why am I saying him? Aren't all butterflies girls? I don't know, maybe they're not. It's kind of that's not a very PC thing to say, Chris. And just a little glitter along the edges. So now this guy, so this one was silver. So you can see that a little bit better. You can see the shimmer on there. And it's harder to see the shimmer on the gold because the colors are so close to each other. So anyway, my plan for this now is to get the pictures on it, obviously, and to get a title on it. And what I have been working with is just I have these little container that I call small journals. And anytime I get little bits of white paper, like strips of things, I create little journal spots. And then I choose whatever side I want for whatever sentiment I want to express. And you can, have them coming in different orders and coming out of the photo wherever you want. I tend to like to anchor them on something that's on the page as opposed to the side of the page. You can make them big, you can make them small. And in here, I also have other kinds of photo elements. So if you wanted to put an actual, this is a piece of lined paper with a frame that I cut out from a sticker. And I can use that as a journal. Many different options you can use for journaling. And if you go to Crafters Workshop, they also have this product called from Tailored Expressions, and it's called lost my brain now, Simple Strips. And it's a whole system of cutting and stamping where you can sit down and do it in an afternoon. In fact, I have done it in an afternoon. And that's fun too if you want to have a pre-stamped element on that side. So I will be posting this wherever I've posted the link for this video. I will be posting the finished product on that same post. So hopefully in a couple of days, you'll see this up there. And I want to thank you very much for joining me again tonight. I will see you next Thursday. Don't know what we're going to do for next Thursday, but I thought it was nice for us to pull together some of the techniques we've been playing with over the last couple of weeks. And I totally forgot to put the washi in. Okay, so all I'm going to do with the washi is add it as an element alongside, not all the way out necessarily, like small bits and pieces within the frame of the rays, the sun rays. So you'll see that in the finished project as well. Thank you again for joining me. This happens sometimes when I get focused on different parts of it. I might forget that I had an idea of pulling something else in. And to be honest, I could just leave it like this and it really doesn't matter. So, and use that idea for another page. Anyway, Thanks again. This is Crafty Chris saying goodbye. Have a great night and a great week.